Hello, listener. Thanks for pressing play. This week on the Jock and Nerd podcast, we take a look at the Avengers video game trailer revealed at E3, Spider-Man Far From Home tracking for a big box office for its extended holiday weekend opening, despite having some of the worst movie posters you've ever seen. Plus, our spoiler Dark Phoenix review, news from the Jock and Nerd Nation, and a whole bunch more, all in this edition of the Jock and Nerd Weekly for Thursday, June 13th, 2019.
This is Simon Rex, a.k.a. Dirt Nasty, baby. You know, I like to listen to the Jock and Nerd podcast when I'm driving to work. Wait a minute, I don't have a job. So I like to listen to it when I'm driving to your mama's house. Ha ha. You tired of boring podcast shows? These guys at Jock and the Nerd are the funniest, most entertaining nerds on earth. So check it out, baby dick.
Check. Check one. All right. This is really fans out there. Let's give it up. Jockin', be nerdin'. Be funny, disturbing. Jockin', be nerdin'. Spoiler alert. Oh yeah. Jockin', be nerdin'. Be funny, disturbing. Oh yeah. Jockin', be nerdin'. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, we Jockin' and Nerdin'. What's up, listener? Thanks for joining us this weekend. Welcome to the Jock and Nerd podcast, giving you comic book and superhero TV and movie news, reviews, and whatever we choose. Jock and Nerd. My name is Imran.
My name's Anthony.
He's the Jock.
He's the nerd.
And that felty phoenix rising from the ashes, a pile of felt in the corner, that's a Rug Boy. What's up, Rugs?
You heard her? I'll fucking kill you.
Yeah, that's about...
Oh, wow. That
was about as much emotion
That's a callback to the movie that
as they had in the movie.
If I hadn't seen the movie yesterday, I would have forgot that was the thing.
I didn't buy it in the movie, and I don't buy it from you either, Rug Boy. I'm sorry. Actually, your delivery was a little bit better, maybe. Maybe I buy it from you a little bit better. Anthony, thanks for coming back to the show. We missed you last week.
I did come back. Unfortunately, I didn't find another podcast that could satisfy my needs like this one.
Well, you have your own podcast, Anthony.
I know, but I didn't find a cooler, more, a sexier editor / do everything person. So I came back to Imran.
You need Imran to do everything.
Right.
We'll always have sloppy seconds for you here, Anthony. No matter what happens in the future. You have a wet...
I know I will always have a shitty home.
You always have a shitty home. Exactly right here at the Jock and Nerd podcast. Look, guys, we got a couple bits of news. We got a movie review. We got some news from the nation. Let's just get right into it.
The Jock and Nerd podcast.
Let's start with some video game news, even though we'd never talk about video games. We're not really a video game podcast, but we are a comic book and superhero podcast. And at the latest E3 this past week, Square Enix and Crystal Dynamics debuted their long-awaited trailer for a Marvel Avengers game.
Geek Boner.
You could be the Avengers. You could be all of them. You can smash. You can do stuff. This trailer... very interesting because I feel like it caught a lot of flack on the internet when it came out.
Really? Why?
I don't know. It may have something to do with the look of the characters and the look of the costumes.
That's true. Okay, I can agree with that.
But you guys watch the trailer. This thing starts. It seems to be heavily inspired by the MCU movie franchise.
Yeah, that's the thing. They stuck so much to the design of the movie that...
This is why it's confusing.
And then they had no likenesses because I guess they don't have the permission to use their likenesses.
Well, you got to imagine that's going to cost a shitload of money.
Well, there is one character we can get into the review in a little bit, but there is one character that doesn't stick to the movies that looks pretty bad.
Well, it's jarring because it just kind of looks like generic superheroes now. Of course, the movie guys don't look exactly like the comics. They made the comics look like we're just so used to the MCU as we know it. That all of a sudden,
let me just say it.
Yes, yeah, just put it out.
Captain America looks like shit.
Yes, he looks like a little.
I don't know
chunky.
Why that costume is the way it is. They made him as if he's just a fat guy underneath that costume. I don't know why they made him have a chest vest.
A chest piece. He's got like armor.
And
like
then he's
weird
got armor all over. It's strange. They should have just stuck to the MCU designs.
Ruggs, you're the biggest gamer out of all of us. This is like a single player and a co-op game. You'll be able to play all these characters. We're seeing Bruce Banner and Thor and Iron Man, Black Widow, and
wait, before you go
Captain
into that,
America,
do you just want to? Oh, I can. The trailer.
Yes.
Let me just narrate the trailer real
Yes.
quick.
What happens?
It's basically they get the Avengers that we know and love, the original 6, get put into a trap mission where they have to save some people, and they end up. It's a trap, and Hydra looks like gets the jump on them.
Taskmaster, I believe.
Taskmaster with Hydra,
or
and
AIM or somebody.
And it ends with Captain America dies. So a bunch of people die, including the Captain America. The Avengers disassemble, and then 5 years later, it looks
it's like an endgame time jump happens in this game.
5 years later, there's some sort of event that's going to happen.
So it takes place in San Francisco. This is like the West Coast Avengers headquarters, and then the Golden Gate Bridge blows up, and they got to go stop. And there's no gameplay footage, but you kind of get a sense of like if you were playing Hulk, what it would look like. You're picking up tanks and shit. Ruggs, what'd you think? Being the biggest gamer out of all of us, last year we had that amazing Spider-Man game where the guy didn't look like any Spider-Man we've seen, but it worked and it was really good. Does this give you geek boner?
Geek boner.
That Spider-Man game is so fucking good. I mean, just looking at the graphics and how he moves and stuff, it's fucking amazing. So if it's anywhere near, even in the ballpark of that, with all the other characters you can play, that's going to be fucking awesome. It's unfortunate that they look shitty, but in the cutscenes. But maybe if we're playing it, it's not going to be that big of a deal because you're not going to really see them as much. You probably because when you play a character, you see the back of them.
Right. It's a third person action shooter, and I think Cap being dead is interesting.
It might not be as big of a deal, like when you're actually playing it, but the cinematics look a little off. I mean, they're not terrible because it did look pretty epic. Mm-hmm. It's just the likenesses and the costume designs, which are just a little bit lacking. So,
well, I believe these are the guys who did the Tomb Raider reboot game. And so in a lot of these articles, they talked about, we made this adventure game with one person. Now we're going to try and make one with like 12 people. And from what I understand, they will release more characters and more things for free. They're likening the co-op online play to Destiny, Ruggs, in the sense that they're going to keep giving you more missions, more characters, but all for free. And the game can expand for years, which I think is kind of a cool idea.
So I'm not a big gamer, but I've played games such as The Last of Us, Batman, Uncharted, and the Arkham games, of course, and then I have played the Spider-Man game. And so if it's anything like that,
yeah, sounds like it's a little bit of some of all those games,
right?
Yeah,
but it's Avengers, which no one has nailed. Getting a ton of Marvel characters right in a video game.
Yeah,
and if they nail it with Avengers, or if they're anywhere close, this game is going to be a monster, in my opinion. Then again, I don't know shit about how people buy video games, but
I think people will buy it if it's get good reviews and it's fun to play. I don't know. I mean, that last Spider-Man game was just so fucking good. Like, if they're coming off of that kind of creativity and they're like, oh, this is what we have to make now.
I mean, that set the bar. So you got to think.
Well, if you can do that with multiple characters, imagine how awesome that would be.
It's not going to be as, what is that thing that they do with...
It's not open world as the Spider-Man game where you can go anywhere.
Yeah.
It's more mission-oriented,
it's
I believe.
probably on rails, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you have a path that you
but
have
you
to
can
go down.
probably switch characters. It's probably like you get to a situation where only a certain character has to take lead to get through this.
Well, the way that, if they're talking about Destiny, the way Destiny works is you start out on a map and then you choose your mission and you go and you do all these missions in order to complete your goal. So like, let's say maybe this Avengers thing is you have to kill Hydra. You have to destroy all the bases. So each mission probably takes you to a base or some location, and you and your friends can play and try and beat that board. And that sounds cool. I'd like to do that. Try different boards with different people. And
the co-op sounds fun. And thanks to our very own Santa Claus who got me a PS4. I am still enjoying the Spider-Man game. I'll probably get this game now that I have a PS4.
I will play it with you.
Yes, that would be awesome.
Imran.
Because the Spider-Man game doesn't have co-op, does it? So that it's and co-op Avengers sounds like a lot of fun. Anthony, the guy voicing Tony Stark in this is Nolan North. and that is the guy who voiced Nick Drake of Uncharted.
Oh, I love Uncharted.
Yeah, but that's a fan favorite game. So this is apparently an all-star video game voice acting cast. These guys have done lots of video games.
The story is cool too. I mean, I mean, I think I have high hopes for this, despite the fact that I wasn't overly impressed, especially with the look of Cap. And that was the other thing too. You knock out Cap right away. You can't even play with him.
No.
Maybe they'll
in the beginning.
Maybe he's a character they add later. They resurrect him. But
I was reading things like with Cap, you can target like 4 different guys, and then you launch your fucking shield, and it hits them and bounces back. It sounds
you do that
like
in Destiny. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and Destiny sounds like a lot of fun. Here's the other thing. This is very early. This game doesn't come out till next May 2020.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
There's going to be a lot of work done on it, but it's exciting to finally have like an awesome, fully playable Avengers team in a video game form, and use my PlayStation for more than Spider-Man now. Be very, very excited.
Did you beat it yet, Imran?
I have not.
Not your penis. I'm talking about the game.
Oh, yes. No, and I have not. I mean, yes and no, not the game. Look, I'm very busy.
Yes, I have, and I beat the game as well.
Yes, I have, and I have not beaten the game. I'm going to get there. You know, there's life. It's very busy. There's things. I barely have enough time to do all this shit I got to do to get all this shit out. But I love that game. It is a lot of fun. Listener, join the conversation. Join our Facebook group. It's called Jock and Nerd Nation. What's up, Nation?
Jock and Nerd.
Exclusive closed group just for our listeners, and it's full of over 400 of the best geeks, nerds, and jocks you could ever want to meet. Everyone's really cool, posting great things. We will pull some things later in the show for the News from the Nation segment. Let's move on to, we're going to review Dark Phoenix later, but the next big superhero movie coming out that I'm excited for is Spider-Man Far From Home.
Geek Boner.
Oh, he is far, far away. Now, they are estimating. Here's the thing. First of all, July 4th is on a Thursday this year, 2019. I forgot. They moved the date up to this movie. It's actually coming out July 2nd.
Jesus.
2 days earlier. So it's going to have a really long opening weekend, holiday weekend, and they are estimating this thing opens to over $150 million just in North America.
Oh, shit.
Let me ask you guys this. After, like, we've had Endgame and we were kind of like overwhelmed and we needed a break, but now that we've seen Dark Phoenix, I'm kind of ready for a Marvel movie again. I'll tell you that much. Because
really?
Yes, because at least you know there will be a certain level of quality standards to this movie.
Sure.
And you kind of know what you're walking into. But are you guys, Anthony, are you pumped at all?
I'm pumped.
Yeah, me too.
For the real end of Phase 3 MCU, this next Spider-Man movie.
I'm not pumped per se. It's hard to be excited for any movie after Endgame because it's just that was such a amazing way to close things out. But I am with you after seeing Dark Phoenix. Yes. I'm going, yep, okay, I'm ready for some competently made movies again. Let's go back to this.
I got a dirty taste in my mouth and Marvel MCU.
Yeah, we've all been watching questionable movies.
Yeah, for a past couple of weeks.
Conflicting films.
Yes, give me something. So the first movie, Homecoming, made $880 million worldwide in total rugs. Do you think this thing makes that? Does it get to $1 billion, or does it fall short of that, of the first one?
There's a trend that's happening right now where all of these films that are being released are not making as much money as projected. So
it's a good point.
Like just all these openings are not
lower.
They're lower than predicted. So I don't know if that's going to continue, but this is Spider-Man.
Yeah. And it is
that doesn't
MCU.
really mean
it's
an MCU Spider-Man. I mean, with the Garfield movies, that didn't really mean much. As far as staying power or whatever, because Amazing Spider-Man 2 didn't do that well. But, people like Tom Holland. And,
he's likable.
The trailers have been getting good buzz. He's got 3 fucking costumes in this movie.
Yes, he does.
4,
yes,
right?
Probably 4.
So,
4 and a half.
And so let's see what happens. Like, I think it'll make as much or maybe a little bit more. but it'll probably be comparable to what it made last time.
I think it'll open larger than the first one. This move to July 2nd is smart. Homecoming opened to 117 million opening weekend. I think it beats that, but they're saying even way higher, 150.
I agree. I think it's going to beat. I think it's going to destroy the first one.
Yeah.
Opening weekend. It's also coming off Endgame, which is a massive movie, and if people are still pumped for
still
Marvel
momentum.
stuff, then
Absolutely.
the momentum is going to definitely bump this one up.
They're smart. Captain Marvel just came out on DVD, and they're pushing that, and like it's just very smart.
Just anecdotally, too. Not anecdotally, but watching Endgame reaction videos that I've watched a ton of them online.
Yeah.
When Spider-Man comes out,
Yeah.
the crowd cheers the loudest out of anyone that comes back.
Wow.
Even in my theater, I remember going to Spider-Man got a gigantic roar.
Gives me chills just thinking about it. So there's a lot of things they do great with the Spider-Man. There's a lot of things they don't do great. Specifically, the fucking goddamn posters.
Oh, shit.
Why does this movie have the worst fucking posters I've ever seen for any movie? Just look, I get that he's in high school and you want to get the high school vibe, but does that mean you got to make him look like some fucking high school kid put the poster together in Photoshop?
Yeah, it looks shit.
The two posters they've given us, there's an IMAX one that's worse than like the one-sheeter where you have Peter turning sideways, looking off one way.
Yeah.
Nick Fury is to his left, looking somewhere else. And then Jake Gyllenhaal's
looking at
Mysterio
you.
is looking right at you.
That one's bad.
What the fuck is going on? And then
It's like they're showing off Tom Holland's ass because people liked his ass better than
Then
Captain
Brie
Marvel's
Larson's ass. Yeah, I mean, he wears the suit a little bit better.
He's got a better ass than Brie Larson.
He's a dancer. That's why. Does a lot of pirouettes and squats. And then this IMAX poster is even more laughable because why did they do this? He's on there twice. Spider-Man. I hate when you put characters on there twice. And it's not even once out of mask and one in costume. It's two different versions of a suited Spider-Man. The little black guy's just hanging out there in his black Spider-Man suit going, hey, I'm in this
I
too.
think about Sam Jackson.
Well, no, that's not. Rugs. Please, Rugs. I was talking about the black
Little black
Spider-Man.
guy.
You call him
The
little.
black Spider-Man. Say what again? Anthony, how can you justify these? Like, what the fuck is this?
They have, you know what? It's not even that I don't think they're the people behind them are all that untalented. I think there is a style that it seems now overall the Marvel posters. There's a style coming, an edict coming from someone higher up that's going, this is the way you're doing the posters. Follow this style because everyone is like this.
And this is like the most basic Photoshop skills.
These are just like poster factories.
Yeah.
Like marketing just gets the hold of the assets and they just start cranking bullshit out. Like,
Yeah.
it's just
The IMAX
typical
one is a
bullshit.
little better, but if they took out Gyllenhaal and Sam Jackson, I think that'd be better.
Yeah, it's unnecessary. And there's
Just put it. I mean, because they're so obviously
just dropped
photoshopped
in there,
and,
yes.
and different images than what was intended to be on there.
like the lighting, doesn't even match
No, it's
Right.
completely off.
at all.
Right, like Sam Jackson is lit from underneath.
Yeah.
And Jake Gyllenhaal, that's a posed picture in front of like a green
yes.
or gray screen behind him.
He's lit from in front. Sam's got edge lighting. Like, it's just reeks of just fucking plop this here. It doesn't
Sam
matter.
looks like he's painted.
Yeah,
almost.
yeah. It's just there's no thought, there's no artistry in this posters. Last week, Anthony, when you were in here, we talked about that Wonder Woman poster. Did you get a chance?
Those were cool.
Right? Isn't it? It's a gorgeous, lots of artistry, really beautiful. And it's different.
simple.
It's simple and it's different. It's not
It's like, look
floating heads.
at this armor
Yeah.
and look at all these cool colors
Yeah.
and smoke some weed.
Look at these trippy colors and trip out. I can see a sailboat in there if I stare hard enough.
Yeah.
But they do.
It's not a sailboat, it's a scooter, you stupid head.
I can't see it. Damn it. But these posters, they always put the Big Ben is in the background and then the other location. It's just, it's so dumb. Now, it's not all horrible marketing. There are some bright spots in their marketing. Specifically, a set of banners they revealed overseas. If you click this link, they actually got smart and they got Boss Logic to do a set of banners that, when connected, form this huge mural. And it's 3 of them that highlight the suits that he's going to wear in the movie. And it's the Iron Spider suit and the noir dark suit and then the black and red suit. And these are great. And I'm happy fucking Boss Logic is getting some work because here's a guy that's been doing this and you're putting out these shitty fucking Spider-Man posters when you could just go to Boss Logic and he'll make something cool for you. Did you guys look at the Boss Logic stuff?
I'm looking at it
what
right
do you
now.
think of that?
Oh, these different suits.
Yeah, there's 3 banners: black and red suit, Iron Spider.
Those are good, yeah.
Stealth suit, and then if you connect those, like it all connects. There's like one big mural.
Oh yeah, that one's very. I mean, it's well done. Yeah, those are cool.
I mean, there's
It's
composition.
better than what we have.
Yes. I just
I'm not
wish
jizzing all over it, but it's better than what we got.
when they give you these fucking shitty Photoshop things. So July 2nd, get ready to go thwip.
For Spider-Man.
Oh, Spider! I got
Geek boner.
big geek boner, and I've stopped.
Spider-Man.
There's all these TV spots out, and I've not watched. I'm trying not to watch. I don't know what's going to happen.
Oh yeah, there's these TV spots are ruining the shit out
They
of this
are.
movie too.
Yes, they're doing that
Stop
again.
it.
They keep
Don't watch TV.
Don't put the movie on TV. Last thing in the news coming out this week. Here's your watch alert. This will be out when this show posts, and it is season 3 of Jessica Jones on Netflix. The last season of Jessica Jones, the last season of Marvel on Netflix, and they finally put out a full, 2-minute trailer, giving us a good taste of what to expect. Anthony, what do you think of this one? We got a serial killer just hunting her down. Trish looks like she's wearing a ninja outfit. What's going on in this?
You know, despite the trailer showing us who the bad guy is and kind of what the vibe of the show, I still couldn't get a read on it. I do like that it's a serial killer,
Yeah.
per se, and that it's someone that might be challenging her in a different way.
Yeah.
But I still don't have a feel for it, to be honest with you.
I mean,
The stink or the aroma of that first season still lingers over everything. So until I see
something that's good.
some episodes, where it can get to that level, I'm going to be skeptical.
Ruggs, this seems to retread the usual, she's a drunk and she doesn't have her shit together, and this guy's calling her out, says he doesn't deserve it. What do you think? Does this guy look like he's going to be a good villain?
I don't know. I think they got something else in the tank. And this is just a little bit of a, okay, look over here. There's this bad serial killer, but there might be more to it. I think there is more to it. So I'm hoping that there is. If there isn't, then who knows what
It's a misdirect. What do you think of Trish finally kind of becoming Hellcat, even though they're not going to put her in a cat outfit, of course?
Yeah, I think that she's really the bad guy. But yeah, so, or somebody else. But yeah, she's coming into her own as Patsy Walker, the Hellcat. She's doing a little ninja action. I know that Kristen Ritter directed an episode where it's mostly Hellcat.
Oh, for this season?
Yeah.
Yeah. This looks like it could be. Yeah.
That's a fact. You can take that to the bank.
I'm going to miss these shows, watching this. What a
last
run.
one.
It's the last one, and this was one of the better.
Well, you heard about that
series.
Hulu thing, right?
Yeah, but who knows? Everything is up in the air over there. They're open to it. Is that what you're talking about? That they were open to it?
They're open to more cocks.
They'll take the Cox. I don't know if they'll take anyone else. They take Charlie Cox.
Yeah, Charlie Cox.
But I don't know if any of the others will cross over. Now, this bad guy, his name is Gregory Salinger. And I had to actually look up. I was like,
is he a real character?
Is there a Gregory Salinger? There is. Gregory Salinger is one of the names of a villain that's actually in the Spider-Man universe. He's fought Spider-Man, and Gregory Salinger was a fool killer.
Geek boner.
He's one of the fool killers, and he was
who is he? A fool killer?
Fool killer there was a couple of people that played this character called Fool Killer.
Oh, I know Fool Killer. He had his own book, didn't he?
I think he did for a while. This version, Gregory Salinger, he went to Empire State University, and Peter Parker was the TA, and they kind of bonded. They liked each other. He was a psychology student, but then he, snapped and went crazy and went bad. And also worked with Deadpool in Mercs for Money. But yeah, Gregory, this one looks more like a serial killer than a psychopath. It could be, I don't know if it's the same.
It'll probably be a amalgamation of a bunch of different characters that played this fool killer guy.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't call Bullseye, right? In the thing. They're not going to call him Fool Killer.
They never referred to him as Bullseye.
They don't even refer to Daredevil as Daredevil in the series, really, do they?
They don't. The Netflix stuff doesn't embrace all the comic bookiness.
I'm the Iron Fist. I'm Danny Rand. Except for that
Randy
one.
They
Randy,
embraced
Iron
that a little
Fist.
too much.
Yeah,
Except
that one was
for
a
that
little,
one.
that was a little too cheesy.
But I'm the Iron Fist.
Protector of Kun Lao.
So it's kind of cool to see them going obscure into like a obscure Fool Killer character, but it's probably loosely based.
Kun Lun. Sorry.
Kun Lao. Kun Lao is the great Chinese food place down the street here, man.
Kung Pao.
Kung Pao. They make a mean dumpling.
They have a Fool Killer that looks like Deadpool now.
No, he was
He
with
works with Deadpool
Yeah,
in
and
the
he-
He
comics.
works at Deadpool.
Mercs for money or Mercs.
Works for money.
Yeah. But the Fool Killer was also always a weird villain. I remember reading that.
I just remember we used to wear like a hat.
Yeah, he had like a big
It was like
fancy man
Zorro.
hat. A little bit. And then now they streamlined him and just put like a regular mask on him. But
Yeah, they should have the hat.
put him in a big hat and scarf.
Give him
and a
the
cane.
pirate hat and
Yes.
the pirate boots.
And an eye patch. That's
Yeah.
I don't know what we're talking about. All right, look, let's take a break here. We're going to play some promos from some fun, friendly podcasts you should check out. And we'll be back with Dark Phoenix spoiler review right after this.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
We'll get you back to your regularly scheduled podcast in just a minute. But we wanted to introduce ourselves. I'm Jason.
I'm Jeff.
And I'm Blake on this highly produced advertisement.
That's right. It's the History of Bad Ideas, a.k.a. Hobie. You can find us on Twitter at Bad Ideas Podcast and on Facebook at the History of Bad Ideas. But if you like a podcast roundtable with 3 to 5 guests, usually every week, depending on sick leave, talking about all things geek, including movies, TV,
I ain't getting paid for this shit.
Blake bitching about something and ranting, and comic books and anything else that we can think of. We have a top 5 list every week, along with a box office news, and somehow we have listeners, so they send us some feedback we answer every week. You can find us on iTunes,
Stitcher,
Facebook.
Spotify,
and any good podcast app, because if you can't find us on that podcast app, it's not a good podcast app.
damn straight. Roger says goodbye.
Goodbye.
Called The Working Man's Nerdist, Tales from the Fandom is a weekly podcast where David talks with a guest about the fandoms that they love. Whether it's classics like Star Trek, Star Wars and Tolkien, or new ones like Game of Thrones or Harry Potter. Anime, books, TV shows, movies, role-playing, video games, cosplay and more are discussed. Each episode is different based on the guest. No fandom is too big or too small. Subscribe to Tales from the Fandom and join in on the fun.
And
Listener, if you enjoy the show and want to support the show and you want more show, visit jockandnerd.com/Patreon and join our awesome fan club.
Jock and Nerd.
You get access to an exclusive RSS feed that has all the shows coming out early, this show, the spin-off show, and tons of bonus content. There's Jock Talks, there's movie reviews, there's instant reactions. Like our supporters this week heard mine and Anthony's separate instant reaction to Dark Phoenix after seeing the movie. Sign up. You'll be helping us out. We'd appreciate it. Lots of tiers, lots of fun stuff. jockandnerd.com/Patreon. Let's get to the review. Dark Phoenix spoiler alert. Here it is.
Strap yourselves in, you fucks. Spoiler time.
Oh boy, here we are. Okay, we got to talk about this movie. This is the 12th X-Men movie from Fox, Dark Phoenix, with the same cast from the last 2 movies. Second attempt at this storyline, sitting on Rotten Tomatoes right now, 23%.
Whoa.
Yee.
4.6 out of 10 average rating. Now, in the scheme of Rotten Tomatoes and X-Men movies, this puts this dead last, which is so surprising that above this movie are X-Men Origins Wolverine at 37% and X-Men Apocalypse at 47%. The lowest rated. And there's a lot of franchise firsts, but not in a good way for this movie. Lowest rated Rotten Tomatoes X-Men movie. Also, first X-Men movie not to open at number 1.
Unbelievable.
Opening weekend makes $33 million, following way short of we thought 50 at least.
That was worse than Godzilla.
Yes, worse than Godzilla.
15 million worse than Godzilla.
Yeah, wow.
And there's no production budget, but I imagine They spent probably $300 million on this.
I think I read a report here. Let me look it up real quick. Give me
$300 million, you think?
Yes, because first of all, I've kind of been obsessed
They
with
had to
the
reshoot
behind
the
the
entire
scenes.
thing. Yeah,
Yes,
there's a lot of that film.
The
whole ending is different.
They pretty much made 2 movies. Apparently, there's another whole cut of this movie. They had huge sets they were building. None of it is in the movie.
Wow.
They had to wear a year between reshoots to get all the people back.
Jeez.
Wow.
So yeah, based on Deadline, Hollywood estimated the film would lose the studio between $100 and $120 million.
Yep, it's going to lose money. Worst domestic opening. Right now, it's at 41 million domestic worldwide, 145 million. It was beaten out by Secret Life of Pets too. Oh boy,
Jesus Christ!
Listen, we said last week it's a crowded summer. Yes, but on top of that, this movie. The stuff surrounding this movie is more interesting, but before we get to any of that...
Well, I can tell you why the box office.
Okay.
First off, people are tired of this X-Men franchise.
A little bit.
But numbers 2 and 3, number 2, the bad reviews.
Yeah, that really doesn't
hurt it. And third, with bad reviews compounds the fact that people were tired of it, so they're not going to go see it. But also, a lot of people know that this is a lame duck movie.
Yeah.
So what's the point of even seeing it?
Well, the Disney Fox thing being so public is another stab in the movie. Bad word of mouth. It's a very weird situation. A bunch of circumstances surrounding the movie that, unfortunately, the movie does take a lot of flack from this, whether the quality is there or not. Some of it deservedly, some of it maybe not. Some of it's a little harsh. Now, cast and crew. This one written and directed by Simon Kinberg. This is
his debut.
So here's the other thing. This is his directorial debut, but he has directed before. Oh, I just said butt, Rugs.
Yeah, you said it a bunch of times already.
Listener, here's a drinking game. Every time I say butt, take a drink.
I've been doing it.
Okay, you should be drunk by now. Kinberg had to step in on Days of Future Past and Apocalypse because Bryan Singer had a tendency to just kind of not show up when he was supposed to on set. And so all the actors' contracts were up after Apocalypse, and because it was Kinberg, because he won them over, they all fucking re-upped for this one last movie. And I don't know if they're regretting that. And I also don't think the movie that we got is the movie that he was going to make.
We'll get into it in the review, but I actually read that Kinberg had intended for this to be the start of a new trilogy with the Young X-Men, and then once the Fox Disney thing went through, that put the kibosh on this because Disney was like, "Yeah, this is it. This is your last one," and you can tell.
Yes.
We'll get into it in the review. But you can tell in moments when the Disney was like, "Yep, it's over."
Which some of that reminds me of Fan-Fertastic, Josh Trank's movie, where you can clearly see the point where the studio comes in and just starts making the totally different movie. It's unfortunate. Back to the cast. You got James McAvoy returning, Michael Fassbender, Jennifer Lawrence, Nicholas Hoult, Sophie Turner, Ty Sheridan, Alexander Shipp as Storm, Evan Peters, Quicksilver, Cody Smith-Fee as Nightcrawler, Jessica Chastain as the bad gal, and there's your main cast, all cast returning from Apocalypse and Days of Future Past. There's so many things I want to discuss about the making of the movie. I'm going to wait. Let's just get our opening thoughts out. The actual movie, what we were showed on screen. I saw this on Sunday, and it's now Thursday, and I've pretty much completely almost forgotten this whole fucking movie. So, Ruggs, you saw it most recently.
Yeah.
Why don't you start? Give us your opening thoughts when this movie ends. What was going through your head?
I was very confused.
That's a good word. Yes.
About why they decided to do these things at the end, especially. Why they did it that way when they could have done a million different things. I don't think it was directed poorly or anything like that. And I don't think it was like cringy, but it was just,
yeah.
You know, I don't know. I don't really, I think I enjoyed this more than Apocalypse, actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think I enjoyed this more than, I guess that X-Men Origins.
Yeah.
So I don't think it was a complete piece of dog shit, but I just think it was just meh. Like, there was nothing special about this movie. There was no, like, standout action sequence. There was just a lot of Sophie Turner looking like she was squeezing an imaginary apple
between her hands.
Yeah, that's it.
A lot of people holding their hands up in action scenes.
Yeah, that's basically what you get when you see this.
All right, Anthony, opening thoughts coming out of this. It's a weird movie to kind of put your finger on. You know,
I'm reading a Deadline review on this, or a Deadline reason on why the box office was the way it was. I'll link it in here because I think it's really good.
Yeah.
And it provides a lot of information as the behind the scenes on this stuff.
Well, I've read a lot of articles about the behind the scenes, yes.
But one of the things, so before I get into my opening thoughts, one of the things I read was that a lot of the reason for the tone and why there's not a ton of action is this movie was never actually intended to be a summer blockbuster.
That is correct.
This was supposed to be a moody, dark tone movie
or
that
psychological
was released,
character
that was released
study
in February. And so getting into my thoughts, the movie is interesting because you definitely, for about until the end of the movie, you do get that vibe, especially with, I believe it's Hans Zimmer that directed.
Yeah, the music's pretty great.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
And it definitely captures that mood. Like when I was watching this, I was going to myself, this isn't like a summer superhero movie. This is a very toned down, kind of psychological Carrie remake sort of feel.
Yeah.
And I was kind of digging it. So overall, the movie, I do like it better than I don't think it's a shitty movie. But there are things that doom it from the start. The fact that Disney bought Fox, you can tell that the movie has just been changed and hacked up.
Yeah.
To end the series.
Yeah.
And we'll get into the ending later. But the big thing coming into this movie, and even before Disney and all that, and Fox, the big thing that really hurts this movie prior to that is the fact it's a flawed premise. Dark Phoenix, for me, is a story that they should have not gone to this early. Dark Phoenix relies on the fact that you give a fuck about Sophie Turner's Jean Grey.
Yeah.
When you've only seen her in one movie prior, they're relying on the fact that Jean Grey's been pop culture for a while, but we don't know this version of Jean Grey. So to follow a character that immediately descends into madness and care is already flawed.
Yeah.
So in that sense, the movie was going to fail from the jump. But overall, it's not a shitty movie. It's just not memorable. There's just nothing. It's just nothing. Like you walk into the movie, you see it, you're like, oh, okay.
You instantly
you walk
forget
out,
it.
and then it was done. That was it.
I think that the biggest mistake that they made was that not enough Jean Grey. And like this movie's about Jean Grey, but you don't really stay with her at all. It's all about people reacting to what she's doing. And she's going through something really major, right? She's like, finds out that her dad's alive. She has these powers. She can do anything she wants. But we don't really do you feel like you have a grasp on Jean Grey? You don't.
No, you don't.
At all.
No.
You don't,
in this movie.
because they're banking on the fact that you have knowledge of just Jean Grey in general.
Yeah, so it's very hollow character.
Right.
And then Sophie Turner doesn't really bring much to it either. So, okay, you don't have a lot of script. You don't have a lot of screen time. You don't have, a lot of stuff to do. So maybe the way you emote and the way you react and all that stuff brings something more to the character, and she doesn't really do much. She's just kind of let me not sound English. And that was what she had to do. And she barely did that. So, she really didn't bring anything to the role, in my opinion.
I thought she did an okay job given what they were given. Look, let's not forget, this movie pushed back twice. Lots of delays, lots of reshoots. When the movie ended, I literally was like, all right, whatever. There are things that I liked. I thought the opening was strong. The bit with Jean and her parents and the accident causing the death in the car crash. Very compelling. You feel for her. And then even the opening NASA rescue, I thought was pretty good, even though there's just a lot of weird plot holes and decisions. Like they say, the Blackbird can't go into space, and then they just fucking go into space and everything's fine, I guess. So I guess it can't go into space. but then the cosmic force, she pulls it in. It's just weird that it's not fire. You could tell they changed so many visual effects that maybe it was fire. I like this cast. It's a shame. This is just a waste of a good cast and a great Dark Phoenix storyline. The irony being Simon Kinberg co-wrote X3, tried to do Dark Phoenix then. This was supposed to be him getting it right. And it's I don't know. I don't think it's completely his fault the movie ended up this way because, yeah, it's hacked. You can look up screenings from people who saw a completely different movie like a year ago.
Well, I'll say this. Simon Kinberg didn't do a bad job, but he didn't do anything memorable either. It was just kind of shot.
Yes. It
was just shot competently enough. I will say that on the good side, I was not looking forward to seeing this movie. I was actually kind of mad that I had to spend time in the movie theater for this. And when I was watching the movie, I was slowly kind of wrapped into it. So I think it did a decent job of presenting a premise that I could get behind. Another fatal flaw, though, is if you think about continuity at all, it's so badly botched at this point. The fact that they started First Class in the 60s and decided to move from the 60s to Days of Future Past, the 70s, to Apocalypse being the 80s, and now this being the 90s.
1992.
And you have a scene where Jean Grey is talking to Nicholas Hoult and going, remember, we were the last ones of the First Class.
Really?
Remember when we used to do that? They're kids. Like something along the lines of, look at those kids having fun. Remember we used to throw parties? And both of those actors and actresses look the
like
same age as everyone else.
They look like they're 25.
I'm like, how are they 30 years older? Why did we make Professor X, Mystique, the Beast, and Magneto all the same age? Why are they all in the same First Class? Like, what is going on here? So if you think about that at all, you completely lose yourself.
These people should be
right away.
way older.
It's idiotic decision making by the studio
Not to mention
to do a decade jump every movie.
Not to mention the fact that I guess in about 8 or 9 years, McAvoy is supposed to age up into Patrick Stewart.
He's supposed to look like Patrick Stewart.
Fassbender is going to look like Ian McKellen.
Right. Ian McKellen looks like he's 105 in 2000 X-Men.
Nicholas Hoult will turn into Kelsey Grammer, I guess. Right. Oh my God. It's just, you can't even think about it.
It's one of those where if you have to ignore it.
Is it supposed to tie to the first X-Men?
Well, it's supposed to loop around back to there, but does all that even happen?
All that's erased.
Yeah.
So it isn't supposed to tie in necessarily, but at the end of Future Past, the last scene is with the original cast of X-Men.
Marsden and Famke Janssen.
It's not even if it doesn't loop in there, it doesn't make sense that Jennifer Lawrence is aged 30 years.
And her makeup looked weird. I think she went more CGI, so she didn't have to put the blue shit on.
The makeup.
I don't know. It was like really grainy.
I do have another point. I don't mean to.
Go ahead. What else did?
Another flaw for me in this movie. Again, I didn't actually hate this movie, but one flaw is the fact that they just went out of their way to completely make Professor X an asshole.
I mean, I kind of like that he was a dick, but
why? Why is that? What does that do for Professor X? Why make him a complete asshole?
We've never seen that before, I guess. I mean,
why make him not a complete asshole, a selfish asshole?
Yeah, he gets arrogant and full of himself.
That we already had a selfish version of Professor X in First Class and in Days of Future Past, where he's on and he's kind of not found his way yet. By this point, he should have his way.
Yeah,
I don't know. I didn't like that character progression for him.
And the whole it was very confusing. Like they were heroes after the space mission, but then people were still coming after them and chasing them, and the cops just show up for no reason so many times. There was a lot of confusing as a Girdwood Rugs. I had the same lot of confusing things. You could tell things were cut out.
Yeah.
But again, it had a few brief moments of fun stuff.
What did you think of Dazzler?
I was just gonna bring that up. I kind of like
one is Dazzler?
The Dazzler cameo when they were in the woods and they were having their party, and she's the one playing the music and running the lights. And that was Halston Sage from the Orville. She's on the Orville. I was like, oh shit, Dazzler, and there's a bunch of other mutants that you don't really get to meet, but you don't really get to meet these guys either. Kinberg is he directed the action competently, but all the dialogue, 2 shots where it's just people talking, was just so boring.
There's not really a ton of action though, other than the end.
I mean, yeah, I
It
guess.
doesn't need to have a lot of action.
But they didn't need it actually.
Well,
but it just that's what makes it even more, I guess, more meh or more like kind of milquetoast. Is that there's nothing that so you come away with this movie and what's at stake here is that she's got this cosmic power, the power of God.
Which
basically.
didn't she already have in the last movie?
Yeah, that's confusing as well.
So that you have that, and then you have that the fact that with the power of God, I guess you will always have eye makeup on and fake eyelashes on, and for some reason, Jean Grey has always got fake eyelashes on.
She's always
and
done
they're
up.
so visible too. They're not like you can't notice them. You can totally just when you watch this movie, just look at her eye makeup.
I did not notice that.
It stands out like as way too much. And she has it on all the time. It's very weird.
Okay.
But she has like this God power, and she doesn't. What does she do with it?
Doesn't really do anything.
She
with
like
it.
squeezes an imaginary thing, and then makes things move, and that's it.
It floats in the air.
I would have liked to see some really fucking badass shit.
So I mean, there's some.
But it was like I think it wasn't intended to be this epic thing.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be this character study. It was basically Carrie.
Yes.
With X-Men. And do we save her, or there's some people that want to save her and some that want to kill her? That was it.
I mean, but a lot of it reminds me of Captain Marvel also in terms of there's a girl with a power she can't control and she's her identity.
I didn't really
well,
see
they have
Captain Marvel
my
stuff.
Emotions make me strong.
Yeah, that whole thing.
I didn't really see
but
much of the Captain
the
Marvel
Carrie
stuff.
thing is a good analogy too. It reminded me a little bit of the Captain Marvels. So like one action scene is literally them.
It's not Captain Marvel.
It's not. It's a little bit. It's a little bit. It's a little bit.
It's more. Captain Marvel didn't have the whole Carrie aspect. Like for me, I got the vibe that
Losing
she was
control.
just a loose cannon the entire fucking movie.
Well, and it kind of but it's so inconsistent because at first when she gets the power, they come back and she's like, "I feel great. This is the best thing ever."
Right.
And then at the party, she freaks out a little bit. It's not really everyone's down, but it's not like they don't explain what happened. And then the next time you see her, she's like, "I can't handle it, Scott. I can't. I'm gonna hurt you." Like all of a sudden, out of nowhere. But I did enjoy, and of course they do the thing again where Xavier is suppressing stuff in her mind to keep her from the truth to kind of control her, which they did in the other movie when it was 1986 and it was fucking Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen de-aged. She goes to meet her father. And then just the cops show up. I didn't understand why the cops showed up out of nowhere. But them putting the kind of spoiling the death of Mystique in the trailers when it happens in the movie, you kind of know it's going to happen. So that sucks all the air out of that.
Yeah, she's like the martyr.
Yeah.
And then they named the school after Jean Grey, the person who killed everybody.
Right. When she killed everyone, and you should have named it after
Yeah,
Raven.
that was strange as fuck.
That's
to rename it
an
after
Easter
Jean
egg. I was
Grey.
like, you named it after her?
Well, the thing too is, so first off, Jennifer Lawrence is at this point completely phoning in her performance.
She looked kind of bored, yes, during this whole movie.
But they did spoil that. The fact that Mystique, is part of the X-Men is just so fucking strange.
And like
but
the
anyways,
leader, yeah.
She gets killed. When that happens, so it's kind of bloody. That is the point. I watched Chris Stuckman's review.
Yeah.
And before the movie. And then I saw that scene, and then he had made a suggestion that I do agree with.
Yeah.
They really should have just went all the way with this and made this an R-rated movie. They should have just made it a brutal movie where she is just carrying people, all like splattering people.
Yeah,
like
just,
randomly,
just
like
disintegrating everyone.
That scene where Mystique dies, it was kind of gruesome, and I was like, they could have just went all the way with this,
Where she
and just made
killed
it like
all of them.
you should have been like, oh my fucking god,
Yes,
she just
yes.
mutilated that.
You
Mystique, she
fucking
mutilated Jennifer Lawrence.
You pull a Daenerys going evil kind of thing on it.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying like visually,
Oh,
you go
okay.
not like she burns
Like
the
she
entire
pulled her
town down.
apart.
I'm saying like you see her guts coming out,
Oh,
and you're
Jesus.
like, oh
Yeah.
fuck.
Like Akira shit.
Yes.
Where you just fucking explode people.
That would have resonated where you're like, oh, like this is a different
It's not
fucking
gruesome
movie.
enough.
Yeah, I didn't think if she was brutal enough. Like if you want to make this memorable,
Yes,
make
yes.
it R,
Yeah.
and make her brutal.
Yeah.
Like make it so you're like, oh my God,
Like
what's gotten into her?
She's exploding heads and shit walking around.
Yeah.
So it is ultimately, it's so safe, it becomes forgettable. That's really
like,
weird.
Even the bad guys are generic. First
Yeah.
of all, they're generic.
They're so bad.
They're generic aliens.
So bad.
Nothing special about them.
They were supposed to be the Skrulls.
Probably, yes.
And then the woman who is the big bad,
Jessica
it's just
Chastain,
she's just like a middle-aged woman, and that's it. Like, come on, like, where's the cool? Like, there could be a cool character that's awesome.
I was
like,
so confused with this whole storyline.
Who cares? Like,
She was they made it so that she seemed alien, but instead they just made her boring.
Yeah.
I listened to a Movie Bob review.
Yeah.
And he suggested something that I think might be the case. He said that he thinks that Jessica Chastain's character was originally supposed to be like the devil on Sophie Turner, Jean Grey's shoulder, like someone that only Jean
she
Grey
sees.
could see.
I read about that before,
and then
too.
I was like,
yeah,
that makes a lot of sense because there's a lot of scenes where Jessica is just talking to her.
Yeah.
Jessica Chastain's character, and no one else notices that this creepy lady is talking to her.
That would have been great if she was like the Phoenix Force inside her head talking to her, maybe.
That would have made it a little more weird, too. But instead, it's just strange in a boring way.
Very boring. Apparently, this is the Dabari race of aliens, which is from the comics, and they were a planet that the Phoenix had consumed and killed, and the remaining survivors came looking for her for retribution.
I almost am positive that they were supposed to be the Skrulls until Disney bought it out.
Oh, yeah. And her character's name is Vuk. But here's the thing. You're absolutely right. They were probably supposed to be the Skrulls, and I believe she was originally going to be like Landra from the Shi'ar, and they had to change that. The Skrulls are a weird shared licensing right where you can generic Skrulls, I think the MCU had back then when it was split, but the Super Skrull, which is a Fantastic Four villain, stayed on the Fox side. So they could have used a Super Skrull. Instead, it's something that you have no idea what these aliens want or what they're doing. It's nothing is explained. What is
They're
their
just
motivation?
completely shoehorned in there that they've been on Earth for a while.
And once the protagonists know they're aliens, why do they keep turning back into humans? Just fucking be alien. Everybody knows you're alien. Like, it was just so confusing. Now, I did enjoy it at the end. It is a lot cheaper.
And that last act was reshot, so.
Yes, and the action in a closed, confined train car, it wasn't that bad.
That was actually better than
the end of Apocalypse,
which the action scene that I thought was atrocious in this.
Yeah.
Was the outside of the building in New York City by Central Park.
Oh, that was bad.
I felt like that whole scene was like so, like,
what was that scene?
2000, like when they meet up in Central Park, they're on the edge of Central Park, going to that building where she is.
Yeah, they're chasing each other to get in the building.
Yeah,
that's right.
That was the worst action sequence I've ever seen, like in recent times.
I couldn't follow it either.
Yeah.
Number one. For some reason, Simon Kinberg or whatever the fuck his name is thought it would be cool that Magneto would spend about 3 minutes trying to raise a subway car.
Oh yeah,
like who gives a shit? Like that's not cool.
Right.
That's not a cool visual that I wanted. Ooh, did you see when he lifted the sub?
And
get the fuck out of here!
I mean, he could have used the cars that were on the street there, but he's like, "No, I'm gonna get fancy. Pull this thing out of the ground."
It also was just weird because you had just seen that his power meant nothing compared to Phoenix, and now he's raising the subway car as if, okay,
that's going to stop her.
This is my weapon now. And it
what
was
does
just
he do with it?
I think it was just to block the door.
Block the entrance. Yes,
really pointless.
And there's a lot.
Like, don't do something like that, and then for no reason.
I will say, I will give him credit for. I loved how they used Nightcrawler's powers. I thought he was well used. Cyclops to some extent was well used. He's blasting stuff. Beast, I thought was kind of he did some cool shit. The Nightcrawler shit was cool because when you got a teleporting guy, you got to use him. There's a lot of things you could do.
I would disagree and say Nightcrawler was the only one that they used well.
But, did you guys mind that Quicksilver, the best part of these movies, the Quicksilver scene, he starts to do his scene and then the studio is like, nope, we don't got money for that. We're just going to stop it right here. He doesn't even get a fucking moment.
It's so silly that they just, the last scene you see of him is just him getting pulled away in a gurney, and then it's like, nope, we're not even going to acknowledge that.
Too expensive.
What happened
it's over.
to him?
He's just going to gurney away. That's the last time you'll ever see Quicksilver.
Storm did some shit. I thought there was a little bit good use of Storm.
This is probably the best Storm outing that we've seen in a while.
Yeah, since
she really helped out a lot.
Power-wise, yeah. No, that last scene is just, you can tell. Like, it's, the studio probably saw what the direction they were going. They're like, we're releasing this in the summer.
Yeah.
We need a big third act. And that third action scene isn't bad. It's actually like pretty decent. And for the first time ever, you get to see the X-Men fighting something different than just the X-Men, which is an interesting twist.
Aliens, and you see them in space, and there's a sense of like team fighting. But
the thing is like that last action scene, even though I just praised it, it's not consistent because you're seeing the aliens get shot up by bullets and not die, but then like
Sometimes they die.
Sometimes they die. And Nightcrawler stabs them with his tail, and then they die.
And then they die.
But then like Magneto can fire them against like. Throw doors at them and they die, but then sometimes they don't die. Like it's like, wait, what kills them? No one could define what kills these things.
Jean was disintegrating them a lot like Thanos too. At the end, when she's grabbing, I thought that was kind of badass the way she's just blowing them to pieces. Except I did not like the crackly CG on the face. It didn't really do much, but. I don't know. That's really all the memorable. There's barely any memorable parts in this
it's just
movie.
A forgettable movie.
You like that she becomes a Phoenix Dragon?
Oh yes, and then as if to allude that there may be another movie, you get a little bit of a Phoenix in the air in the background as a closing scene. But like,
no, I don't think they alluded that. I think they clearly made it so that this is the last movie.
Was there a post-credit scene? I didn't even wait. Okay,
no, there wasn't. I mean, what I mean by that is. She becomes a Phoenix. They immediately cut to the school being happy again.
Right.
It's Jean Grey School, which is not only is it, they should have made it the Raven School if they were going to change the name, but she's only been in school for like a couple of years, and she like
it's been
killed
10 years since the last movie. It's been 10 years technically.
Whatever. And then they like show it as if like the school's thriving again, blah 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 blah, and then they do the scene where Professor X and Magneto are playing chess
again, yes,
which is from I believe the first film.
Yep, at the very end.
So it's like that bow on everything, but it's like, what?
You're like
he's retiring. James McAvoy's like 35.
And was that Genosha where Magneto was? Is never made clear.
I don't know. That little city.
Yeah, where he had all his bad guys.
It was like a little island.
My favorite thing was. Magneto getting pissed and going, I'm going to fucking kill her.
Yeah, we could have used more of that. But really, why was Magneto even in this fucking movie? It was kind of a pointless role the way this thing came out. He may have had a bigger role before.
Or maybe he wasn't even supposed to be in the movie.
Possibly not. But
I think it makes sense because she goes to him because she's like, I can't trust
she needs
Professor
help controlling
X.
this, and she's going to turn.
And he's got a haven from mutants,
right?
Turn to the dark side, the Brotherhood of Evil.
It does actually make sense that he's in the movie.
If you watch the first trailer, the first couple of trailers, there are so many scenes in those trailers that are not in this movie that hint at the other movie. Like, I believe there was a bigger schism between the team, and there was a clear Beast had joined Magneto's side because she killed Raven and they were in love, and there was more relationship with Jean and Scott. And I believe the ending was the other thing I read, it was supposed to be a two-parter, 2 movies. He was planning this to be 2 movies. The end was a big UN alien invasion at the UN where everything gets destroyed. It was going to be the biggest set they ever made for any X-Men movie. And then Jean flies off into space to battle the aliens as they're invading. Similar to Captain Marvel. The other reason I think this weird similarity, even though this was supposed to come out before, is the 90s setting. Except in this movie, you would have no idea what it's in the 90s.
No idea.
They didn't do anything with that.
Pointless as fuck.
Yes, no costuming, no music, and made no fucking difference.
It doesn't need to be. It should have been like in the 80s or whatever. Like, it was just stupid.
There is so many. Yeah, I mean, I don't even know. I want to get into like all the other things that were changed.
I don't even think it's one of those movies where we could just. I mean, if you want to keep going with it, we can.
Yes, but it's not. There's no point.
There's no point. The movie, literally, the franchise is dead.
Yeah.
This movie was a throwaway.
Yeah.
They didn't give a fuck about it.
No,
why are we going to spend time analyzing a movie that they clearly didn't give a fuck about anymore?
Yeah. You can tell by towards the end of the movie that they just don't care. And like,
you can tell they got told, wrap this series up. It's all over. this is done. It's going to Marvel.
Is this the Dark Phoenix, Imran?
What do you mean? No, the character?
Is this like what you imagine the Dark Phoenix to be?
No, there's no fire. She wasn't even on. There was like, at least in Apocalypse, they made it look like fire.
Really? Is that all that defines the Dark Phoenix is fire?
It's a sad, thin fucking.
You need Wolverine there, don't you?
You need Wolverine. You need the Hellfire Club. You
need the love triangle.
You need the love triangle. You need to set up that Jean was a young teenage girl when she came to Professor X's school, and she's grown up to.
You need this setup that Jean Grey, for years and years in the comics, was a goody two shoes character, and was the girl that everyone had a crush on, and was basically perfect.
She was the girl next door and then you need this force that you got to establish that's going around the universe, eating planets and connecting with her. And they find each other. This is not the Phoenix again. Sorry, Simon Kinberg. You fucking missed it 2 times from the same guy.
I'll ask you, but you, Ruggs, is this closer than Last Stand to the Phoenix?
It's closer than The Last Stand, I think. Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
I mean, there was the Wolverine part,
right,
which worked.
I enjoyed The Last Stand better because at least it was kind of memorable and it gave you.
But she kills Cyclops.
She does.
Within minutes.
That's true, right at the beginning. But you had
that kind of ruined it.
You had I'm the Juggernaut, bitch, which is always memorable.
I actually liked this better than Last Stand.
Oh yeah,
I got to be honest. Yeah, Last Stand pissed me off.
This movie kind of makes me mad, though.
Really?
Yes.
Why does this make you? Why are you this? Why would you be invested enough to be mad in this?
Because it's just I feel like the waste of this cast. These people are really good.
I don't think they care.
And it's just a shame that this is what they got to put through. I mean, McAvoy is still, like, he's good everywhere. Like, he's
good.
He's
and
Fassbender is good. And I kind of liked a little of what Sophie Turner was doing. It just seems so wasteful. It just lays there. That's what made me mad. It was just forgettable, and it just lays there, and it does nothing. It did nothing new. That's why I was upset.
In that sense, then I can see your point.
That's the only reason I was upset. Couple more details about. There's so many things.
Really? We're going to keep going with
not about the movie. That's the thing is this movie is like, similar to Josh Trank's deal and BVS and Justice League. The stuff around the movie.
It's not that bad.
It's not, but it's more it's more interesting than the movie.
Oh yeah, the stuff around it. Yeah, I was going to say the movie itself is actually fine.
It's just fine. It's mediocre. It's there. But the stuff around the movie is crazy. Like, part of the reason they had to change dates is because James Cameron wanted to move Alita Battle Angel from the December later to that February slot because it didn't want to compete with that. And so they moved Dark Phoenix for Alita Battle Angel. Because it was supposed to, and that was like the day after they said it was coming out February 14th, and they moved it again. The marketing, so the fact that the switch was happening while this movie was getting pushed back and reshot, it's obvious no one knew how to market this movie. There's another theory that this is why I think the Captain Marvel thing, Kevin Feige thing, comes into play. When it finally did happen, this movie was going to come out before Captain Marvel, show a female-led movie, show a movie of a protagonist that gets a cosmic power. And I think
I got a point on the female thing. So come back to me on this.
I think Feige was like, they're going to see this first, and then they're going to see Captain Marvel. He's like, oh, no, fuck no. We're going to have to move this afterwards. I don't care if you did not. And that's why the movie was not designed for summer release. Yeah, what's your point on the female thing?
More cringe. Captain Marvel playing I'm Just a Girl.
Yes.
Or Jennifer Lawrence going, this should be called the X-Women.
We
always save
so
you.
much as we call the X-Women.
I was like, what?
Why would you even bring that up?
Yeah.
That's so stupid.
They're both equally.
Look, if she said that after he said something chauvinistic,
right,
then okay. But just to bring it up out of nowhere, it's just like
I think the Dark Phoenix more cringeworthy than I'm Just a Girl. I can allow I'm Just a Girl.
They're both pretty bad. But I was like, wait a minute. I was thinking
I think they're tied.
I was thinking back. I was going, wait, do the women even say, like, has this been a thing in these movies? I didn't even remember. Like, it might be, but I was like, why even call attention to that?
No, they're just checking off
This
boxes.
should be the
and
Yeah, no,
shit,
it was clearly a box check to nod to that crowd. Like, hey, we're thinking about you. That's why we're not throwing in X-Men anymore. It's X-Women.
Yeah.
And apparently there's no awareness. The companies that track awareness for these movies, which is also explains the box office. This movie had it says there's a score of 75 of awareness. An X-Men movie had never below 90. That Rocket Man Elton John movie had a higher awareness than this movie. So because of this muddled marketing, nobody really knew. Remember, every time we're like, oh shit, this is still coming out. And
but awareness and interest are not the same thing.
That's true.
I don't think this movie had either.
No, it didn't have enough awareness to get interest. And there's still one
the
more
thing is,
X-Men
too,
movie
is like
coming out.
Apocalypse came out and was really bad, really unforgettable. Like, I think that really hurts things too. Because did anyone here see Apocalypse more than once?
Like when you see a
I don't
movie
think so.
that's that dog shit and like takes a character that's so badass and just makes him so fucking lame.
It kills a franchise.
Yeah, you could fuck up your whole shit. I mean, look at The Last Jedi. It did the same thing. It took a character that we all love and then they fucking fucked him.
And then Solo comes out after and takes a dive.
Yeah.
Listen, if you wanted to kill the franchise, I think they succeeded. So
they done a great job.
They did a great job. If that was your goal, because it's gonna get rebooted
listen, you gotta
anyways.
leave it on as low a rung as you can, so when Marvel does it, it's gonna look 10
oh my
times
god,
even
it's
better.
gonna be amazing when they finally do it.
It is a shame. I'll say this: it is a shame that a franchise that's had ups and downs, but it's been around for 19 years. The X-Men, which is a very valuable IP. It's the franchise that started a lot of the modern blockbuster superhero, and there are some good films in there, some great actors that have been a part of this. It's a shame that this is the last one that really ends it out on not even a stinker, just a
whimper.
It's like a fucking queef.
Yeah, it's just.
It's just not even a fart. It's a.
No, it's like they're blowing out a candle.
What the fuck was that?
That's it. Well, look, I think this is that's a great segue to rank and rate this movie and wrap this shit up.
Oh, God.
I don't even know if I can recommend people pay money for this. It's not really
shouldn't.
worth your time. It adds nothing, brings nothing new, unless you're a big Sophie Turner fan and you miss Game of Thrones and Sansa Stark.
Yeah, why would you go to see this movie? Besides the fact that Imran told me to see it.
Well, I think you'd have to be a pretty big
hardcore
X-Men fan. The people who love the franchise want to see all of them.
If you love seeing Nightcrawler Bamf a lot.
Yeah, that was great. How often do you get to see Nightcrawler Bamf a lot?
A very dorky looking Nightcrawler.
If you want to see Nightcrawler use duct tape to keep the fucking space out of his space costume.
Oh, I got one more thing before we get into the rankings.
Yes.
The last movie, Apocalypse, at the end, they're all in their colorful costumes.
Oh,
and I was like,
let's talk about this. Yes.
That's awesome. They're finally embracing it.
Yes,
Like, at least we're doing this.
Yes, from the 90s.
And then we go to a worse version of the first class costumes that looks like, I don't even know what kind of fabric that is, but it's so obnoxious with that giant X. It's worse than the first one.
Isn't that the Frank Whiteley one with Joss Whedon?
Yes, which makes even less sense. It is based on the Frank Whiteley design that came out in the 2000s. This was the X-Men look in the 2000s. If you wanted to do a 92 movie, you put them in the fucking Jim Lee costumes.
Right.
What are you doing? I did not like these costumes. Ruggs, what'd you think of the unified outfits?
It was whatever. It was like innocuous. Like I didn't give a shit at this point because I knew I wasn't going to get the regular costumes. I don't even remember the Apocalypse costumes, to be honest with you. The Jim Lee costumes, were they good?
You just saw them briefly at the very end.
They were pretty comic book accurate.
It was comic book accurate. You had.
I need to find a picture of this.
Yes,
look it up real quick.
But it's literally at the very end.
Apocalypse X-Men costumes.
Couple more interesting tidbits. We did talk about this last week, Anthony, when you're here. But they were rewriting this movie on set. It was scrambling like day by day. Like there was constant rewrites. They were changing things on the day they would shoot. And this had to be part of just changing the ending because it was mandated. And here is the best irony. Simon Kinberg didn't actually direct that third act train scene.
Oh, shit.
Nice.
Yes. A dude he was a stunt coordinator, Brian Smurs. He shot it. Because I can see, yes.
Yeah,
So
I actually think it's a good job.
he did. What did Kinberg do then? for this movie besides
Subway?
Yeah, you brought the Subway up to the top, and there was definitely another movie that had more shit fleshed out that may have been a better movie.
But even those movies I heard were version of the movie was testing terribly.
Was kind of a mess.
They couldn't find a watchable version of this movie.
Yes, no, they can't. So they just like, fuck, we're out of time.
Right.
Just put it out.
Okay, we can rank it now.
Okay. Who wants to go first? Anthony, rank it, rate it. You got 12 X-Men movies. Yeah.
Rank it there or rate it? Which one do you want me to go first?
Give me a number.
So I was thinking about this because I was like, do I like this more than Godzilla?
Oh, yes.
I was like, I might like this more
Really?
than Godzilla. But then I was like, but Godzilla, I like Godzilla. So I ended up settling on the fact that I think it's the same as Godzilla, which is like a 5.5 or a 5.
Okay.
Maybe
it's really hard.
Maybe closer to a 4.5. But I think I'll settle on the same rating I gave Godzilla, which is like 5.5.
Okay, 5.5. Where would you rank this out of, say, 12 movies?
Fucking hell. This is hard.
I mean, there's 4 out of these 12. There's like 4, 5, maybe 6, 7 good movies.
Okay, well, let me put it like this. There's the good movies are Days of Future Past.
Correct.
Logan's the best one.
Absolutely.
Logan, Deadpool,
Without
Days
a
of
doubt.
Future Past. X-Men 1 and 2 get a lot of hype, but I actually don't think they're like just middle of the road movies.
Okay. First Class. What about First Class?
First Class is good.
Yeah.
First Class is very good. Then there's like the shitty ones, like Origins is bad.
Yeah. The Wolverine kind of.
The Wolverine's
it's all right.
The Wolverine's good.
The Last Stand.
Last Stand is bad. Apocalypse is bad.
Yes.
So I think it's above. I think it's like if it's above those three. So would that make it 9, 8,
Oh,
8
so
or 9?
not a complete dog shit garbage.
Yeah. I think my rating is now changed to a 4.5, and I'm going to put this at a 9 out of 12 from the X-Men.
9
movies.
lower being Apocalypse.
I'm forgetting Deadpool 2 is a middle of the road movie.
Yeah.
It's better than this. Like,
oh yeah. No, Deadpool 2. So there's definitely three tiers. There's the high tier, the mid tier.
X-Men movies are
They're
really
all over the
fucking
place.
mixed bag.
Yes,
Holy
they really
fuck.
are. If you think about not just the timeline, but the quality.
The quality of these
all
movies.
over
There's
the
too
fucking
many
place.
of them.
Yeah.
There is too many. And there is a lot.
All right, Bruggs, rank it, rate it. Give me a number.
I'm not gonna rank it.
Okay.
It's too. I can't remember all the movies. I'll just let you know that my favorite X-Men movies are probably Days of Future Past and X2. I think X2 is on top. Days of Future Past, then the original X-Men movie, and then the next one down has got to be
Logan.
What?
Logan. What about Logan?
And then we got the Wolverine.
Deadpool.
Then you got Deadpool, and then I don't know how it shakes out, but
First Class up there.
This is probably above X-Men Origins Wolverine and tied with the other one that from
Apocalypse.
Ratner.
Oh, X-Men Last Stand.
Well, Apocalypse is at the bottom, I think.
I would agree.
Yeah, so it's not the worst. It's just
But it's not the middle.
But it's not, definitely not the middle.
It's towards the bottom. But like now, I disagree with Anthony about Godzilla. I think I would recommend people to see Godzilla
Over this.
No, there's a caveat to it. Like, I'm not gonna like Joe Blow off the street or Jane Doe off the street to go see Godzilla. I wouldn't recommend that because they're gonna be like, "This is stupid."
Yeah.
But a guy who wants to see a big Hollywood effects movie, I would recommend over this because at least you remember stuff in Godzilla.
Yeah, the spectacle.
At least after you leave
great.
and you go home.
Yeah.
You know, I seen Godzilla 3 times and I'm like, I'm happy to see it.
Yeah.
I saw it all 3 times. So I wasn't like, this is a chore. I was like looking for more stuff to see. I was trying to get more out of it. I did. So anyway, this, I don't think I want to see again. There's nothing for me to go back for.
Yeah.
So it's going to be less than what I gave Godzilla. I think Godzilla I gave like a 7.
Yeah.
So I'm going to probably go a couple notches down, 5.5.
Damn. Okay. My gut instinct was also number wise 5.5. 5. I'm like, this is a 5. It's not memorable. Ranking out of 12, man, it's definitely bottom 3. It's tied with Apocalypse. For me, I enjoyed Last Stand a little bit better, and that's just partly because of, hanging out with those characters. You felt a little more connected to those characters.
It's got Wolverine.
It's got Hugh Jackman Wolverine in it. So this is like 10 or 11 or tied towards the bottom in terms of ranking. It's a shame also because after X-Men First Class, they kind of had this timeline kind of rejiggered and fixed a little bit. It left in a great spot. And then the whole franchise should have ended with Logan. And then they just kept going, and it does not work. Nobody wants it. And it's also a string of movies that nobody's asking for this summer. If you notice, like Men in Black International, I think is suffering the same fate. It's like 22 on Rotten Tomatoes. Another movie nobody really asked for that they're making. There's going to be another Shaft movie. Is anybody really asking for this? I don't know. I don't know how much money that's going to make. So,
it's tanking.
Yeah.
And I'm saying this movie will just keep tanking.
This movie will just keep tanking. Try to ignore it. There's technically one more X-Men movie coming out scheduled for April, and it's New Mutants. But they still said they're going to reshoot that. So I don't know. Who knows what the fuck's going to happen if that's ever going to come out. Let me ask you this as we wrap this up. What lessons do you take? You are the MCU. You're Kevin Feige.
Don't reshoot the movie.
What? No lessons you take trying to bring the X-Men into the MCU. I would say maybe not so much focus on like Magneto and Xavier all the time.
Yeah, I mean, like, it just makes no sense. That I think that one of the things that they do is they have a vision, and then they try and do something completely different, and then everybody can feel it. So at least if you're gonna go down, fucking go down in flames with dignity.
Yeah.
Going like
all out.
Let the Snyder cut fucking be made. Look, does anybody like the new Justice League movie? No.
Yeah.
So like, what did you do? What did you really rescue by fucking making it a shit? You made it just another shittier movie.
Another hack job. Yeah.
That doesn't have a focus, doesn't have an artistic vision. So it's like, stop doing that. Stop doing, like, make small changes, make an adjustment. If something's really bad, you can edit that out, whatever. But let's not like fucking just Frankenstein movies together. Like this, everybody says it's normal, but I don't think it's normal.
No, but it's becoming more and more prevalent.
Yeah.
With these movies. Anthony, do you think they should focus on Wolverine in the MCU, or maybe more of a team effort? Would that be another lesson to take from this?
Yeah, I would say so what they've nailed in these movies is in Magneto, Professor X, Wolverine.
Yes. Over and over again.
Over and over. They know how to do that. Those characters are important, so don't completely ignore those characters, but you got to elevate the family.
Yeah. Yep.
You need Kitty Pryde in there.
Yes.
Like a good Kitty Pryde.
Yes.
She's always good. Her dynamic with Colossus and Nightcrawler is great.
Yep.
And that was one of my favorite things of the books.
Yep.
Storm is very underutilized. Cyclops is very underutilized as well.
Yep.
And where the fuck is Iceman?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
There's no Iceman, I don't care which version of Iceman you use, but like he's a very powerful character.
Yeah. He's got to be in there. I agree with
if you're gonna go OG, you're gonna have to get Angel in there as well.
Yeah. Put in Angel.
Why not?
I kind of love the different versions of Angel we have been given, and always wanted to see more, and like you just never get that. But look, both you guys are right. First of all, this should be a family.
Of course we're right. You're gonna agree. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah. That's really good.
Let me tell you something about Tony.
Let me tell you about Tony, all right? Tony ruins lives.
That's right.
What they should do is focus on the family, and Kitty Pryde being your point of view as a teenager now. She's your point of view. You go in with her. These people are already established. You get to meet everyone and give everyone a moment to shine.
Well, you know what else you're going to have to do? Sorry to interrupt. They have beaten into the ground that this is an allegory for racism and then LGBT issues. Mm-hmm. You have to find another angle. Like that can be a thing.
It's part of the fabric of the thing, though.
But part of the fabric of the MCU is that there already are these superheroes. Like, they're not going to be weird. Like, you can't be like lean back and be like, well, the mutants are weird. You
Yeah,
have to
yeah.
figure out a different angle, and the different angle could be like the family issues, the fact that they go on a lot of wacky adventures, the
Yeah,
X-Men. They
yeah.
go to space. They go to all sorts of different crazy shit.
Different
like
planets and shit.
You're going to have
yeah.
to find a different overarching theme other than the fact that mutants are persecuted because they're different.
I mean, the main thing is, how are you going to explain this group of genetically enhanced people all of a sudden in the MCU? Are they going to use the Eternals? Are they going to make it a thing so it's retcon that they were always around? Like, that's the one first hurdle, and that's really going to set the tone for how you're going to react to these new superpower beings that are even more different and special for their own reason. I don't know how you do that. bring it into the MCU.
They'll figure something out.
Because it's worked being separate, and now... But, again, who doesn't want to see Avengers versus X-Men and all these great storylines like Secret Wars that have all these characters be done on the big screen?
Right.
Man,
There's just so much great stuff in the X-Men universe that has not even been touched.
Yes, because they
Or
keep doing the
even if
same
it's been
shit
done,
over
it's
again.
been done poorly.
Yes.
So, I don't know. There's so much. You got Rogue. No, that's a great character that's been completely forgotten. There's just so much out there. Just Gambit. There's so many so many players that we don't even really know in the way that they should be known. So, I don't know. It's their toy box to play with. So let's fucking see some good shit.
Yeah, let's see what happens when it's with the team that everyone touts as the team that knows what they're doing.
I mean, Kevin Feige started his first movie he worked on was X-Men in 2000 with Lauren Schuller-Donner. This is probably very personal to him. In the meantime, Fox, you did a decent to very good job giving us this franchise, and a lot of memorable moments and a lot of fucking shitty moments, but we got a lot of great shit out of this. All right, good stuff.
My last comment, I have one thing before we close the show.
Yes.
Is that there's too many fucking blue people.
Oh, there were. I noticed that too.
Like, they could have just gotten rid of Mystique.
In one shot, you have Nightcrawler and Beast and Mystique all standing next to each other.
Yeah, it's like, if you're going to have, like, Beast, like, have him not be the blue Beast. Have him just be, like, regular Beast.
Wait, what,
Because
was
there's
he
too
not
many
blue? He was like he was gray.
In the OG, he was just a big dude.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. He was like a big brawler, wrestler kind of guy,
like
no hair.
Yeah, not like a big lanky dude.
Right.
Like a big dude that looks like a beast that doesn't have like a big blue hair.
And also, you could tell that Nightcrawler and Beast's makeup was like practical makeup, and then Mystique, that didn't look the same. I don't know.
I liked Mystique, actually.
Yeah?
She actually looked like the comics. Her face, at least.
In 8 years,
it wasn't overly like textured.
Oh, that's true with all the little pieces. Look, in 8 years, she'll be Rebecca Romaine if she was alive, but she's not alive. Also, they love to impale people. Like that. The ending reminded me of the end of Logan, where he gets impaled.
Yeah.
And there was
everybody dies like a vampire.
There was another impaling. Yeah, there's a lot of impaling.
That's the way to go. So you could still act, but blood is coming out of your body.
Through the heart. All right, let's get to news from the nation. It's time for news from the nation. It's time for news from the nation. Anything left?
I think that's it.
Okay, now that that's out of, we've aired that out. Got a couple of articles posted to our Facebook group, Jock and Nerd Nation, by our awesome listeners. Anthony, I got some Jock news for you.
Jocktastic.
Fiddlesticks Winterbottom, the third, breaking this news, posting this news. Justin Bieber wanted to fight Tom Cruise in the UFC.
That was so strange.
And Conor McGregor wanted to fight Mark Wahlberg and was going to pay for all of it.
Yep.
Comment? Apparently it's come out that he's back down.
So it came out that Bieber was saying that he was just joking around and that Tom Cruise would whip his. It was. I don't even want to talk. It was so fucking strange and so stupid. And
I mean, he tweeted at Dana White.
He's like, I'm trending.
Yeah, it was.
I'm
just,
back in, baby.
How to stay relevant.
It was just a call for attention that I don't even really want to put any thought into.
Really, Justin Bieber?
That's exactly what it is. He's just looking for somebody to talk about him for 5 minutes.
Exactly.
Everybody thinks he's a complete loser.
I'll tell you what, though. I would have paid money to watch that, and absolutely Tom Cruise would have kicked his ass.
Oh, shit.
No doubt.
The dude hangs off of jets while they take off.
Yes, he learned how to fly a helicopter for that last Mission Impossible movie. He's hung off.
If he had to fight Justin Bieber, he would learn everything about Justin Bieber. Like, he'd learn about like how many pubes he had. Like, he would learn everything about him and then destroy him.
He would start singing pop songs and learn dance moves and then just break it out and beat the shit out of him.
Yeah.
Will we ever see like a crazy celebrity UFC match, Anthony? You think that's anything will actually happen? Or it's.
Who would you like to see?
Yeah.
I can't even. I mean, I can't even think about a celebrity that I'd love to see Justin Bieber get his ass kicked.
That'd have been great.
Maybe. I mean, I would never say never. The UFC did have CM Punk, who legitimately had no athletic background whatsoever that would qualify him for the UFC.
Oh, shit.
So if they would go that far, they might do a one-off celebrity thing.
At that point, you're like, oh, you just have fucking sold out now, haven't you, of UFC? You just need money. Conor McGregor versus Mark Wahlberg. Who wins that one?
Oh, Conor McGregor.
No doubt.
It's not even that's stupid.
Have you
That's also stupid.
Has anybody been to a Wahlburgers yet? Their burger joint?
No.
There's one in downtown Chicago I saw.
There's one on Coney Island. I've never been there.
I don't know if it's been any good, but hey, you would have had my pay-per-view money had this happened. I just thought it was funny. Jimmy Shea writes in. He says, "Hey, Nation."
I think it's Shea.
Shea? Like, Shea Stadium.
Like Shea Butter.
Shia Butter. Shea. Shia is the Muslim sect. I'm sorry. See,
Shia LaBeouf?
I'm Shia LaBeouf.
No.
I'm Sunni Muslim.
Just do it.
Shia LaBeouf is he's a Shiite Muslim. Jimmy Shea, like the butter. Hey, Nation, anyone watching Krypton?
No.
I just started watching it so I can get my money's worth out of the DC Universe app.
Oh, yeah, that's closing down, buddy.
It's okay for a Superman show with no Superman, but I've got to get through it because in season 2, Krypton gets a season 2, but Swamp Thing gets canceled. No justice. They are introducing Lobo, my favorite space bounty hunter. I'm sure they will screw it up, but I never thought I'd live to see the day we get characters like Swamp Thing, Doom Patrol, Adam Strange, and Lobo on the small screen. What a time to be a nerd.
Jock and Nerd.
I'll agree with that last one. What a time to be a nerd. I watched half of the first season of Krypton. Actually wasn't bad. I just never went back. There, Brainiac's in it. Fucking Doomsday is in it. And you have Emmett J. Scanlon playing Lobo in season 2. I put a photo in the show notes, you guys. What do you think of our first
Emmett J. Scanlon?
Emmett J. Scanlon, who was in...
Sign me up.
He was in a Marvel movie. He was in Guardians of the Galaxy playing Head Riot Guard.
Oh.
So... what do you think of his look?
Let me stampede toward my DC Universe app right now.
Let me get some use out of that. I mean, we always wanted to see Lobo on TV. He's a great character. The stitched bastard. What do you think of this look? Does it make you want to watch the show? Probably not.
I like how they painted his abs up.
Yeah, you could obviously tell.
They spray painted his chest.
That they've painted on things. It doesn't look
I'm
terrible.
going to do that.
Yeah.
My abs are drawn on too. So it doesn't...
I mean, Sci-Fi canceled so many shows. This show did not get canceled, surprisingly. And they are going to develop a solo spin-off Lobo show for Sci-Fi Rugs. Is that a good idea?
I don't know.
No?
I mean, they're going to do it so low budget, it's not going to be worth watching.
Have you watched the second episode of Swamp Thing yet? Are you going to continue to watch?
There's no desire.
It's pretty
It was
good.
bad, huh?
No, it's a good show. I liked it. I think the first episode was good.
I don't trust your opinion on anything.
Ask
to be honest
Rugs.
with you.
Rugs, how's Swamp Thing?
It's not bad. It's just I have no interest in watching.
Got it. Well, they've already canceled it, so
Yeah, it's
one season and
it
it's done.
sucked the life. I mean, what? If, you know, it's going to end wrong because they ended it on the 10th episode when they were going for 13.
They shut
so
down
I'm already
production after 10 episodes. I don't know if they got to finish the
so
story.
why even bother?
Yeah,
It's
that's
like, I'm
really
only going to
bad.
get disappointed.
Why did they do that?
Some of the reasons were that North Carolina, where they were filming, promised them $40 million tax rebate. And apparently that was wrong, miscommunicated. They were only getting $13 million. Apparently the budget was $80 million. So that $40 million would have covered half the budget. Once they figured out there was some error or somebody screwed them or fucked them, they were only getting $13 million. They shut down production at 10 episodes and then waited for the show to air. and then cancel it. That's one of the stories I'm hearing. There may be other stories, but I think it's the politics of the business of shooting a TV show, which they just need to find another place to build this swamp set. It may come back, but as Rugboy also alluded, Anthony, last week we talked about the fact that Warner Media may pull the plug on this whole DC Universe app.
Yeah, it's going. It's gone.
Because
That's not
they want
May.
their own.
They're going. They're losing too much money.
Yeah, it was.
This app is pointless.
It wasn't good. The app was not ready. They didn't have. There wasn't enough to consume.
You can't just make a Netflix. You can't just do it because there's already is a Netflix and there's already a Hulu.
Right.
There's already a Prime. There's so many things.
Too niche-y.
Now Disney, I hope that they do it right, but I don't know.
We don't know, but they've got a lot more in their tank than what DC was going to put out.
Well, they own a lot more stuff. So I think that if they did the DC app inside of a WB app, then you'd have something because they own a lot of shit.
So
they own HBO.
Anthony, let me ask you this: would you pay for this? DC Universe app's like $8 a month. HBO $15 a month. If Warner releases an app that's $17 a month, that includes HBO, TNT, everything Warner Brothers owns, the CW shows, everything on the DC Universe app. Is that worth the $17 a month price point?
Maybe
because they own.
It's 12, yes.
I'd say 17 seems like a lot, but it is an app that you can build with all that stuff that you just announced or you just listed.
Yeah. It's a lot more of a robust.
Yes.
This is so shallow, this DC universe.
100%.
WB has a lot of shit that they can put on their own app. So I don't know if the comics will be there. I like that there's comics there. Not that I go read them all the time, but I just like that the ability is there.
You like that you have the option if you ever wanted to read a comic online.
If I ever found time and I'm bored, hey, I can read this comic on my TV.
I don't think they did that right either.
Nope.
I love that there's comics on there, but I don't like the way that they have them on there.
It's piecemeal.
There's 20,000 comic books on there now.
But it's just...
Reading it can be a little clunky.
It doesn't... They haven't developed an app that allows you to really understand what you're doing with comics.
I see.
That is the problem. Think about it. Comics are such a daunting thing. There's so many series, there's mini-series, there's continuations, there's branches, there's things that are tied into other things, there's crossovers. All of these things are there. And the way the DC app, they just kind of vomit them onto the screen. And they need to be curated and they need to be like put into
here's this storyline. Yeah, read this
properly.
first. Here's this story arc. Here's this story arc.
Yeah,
and have them connect. And they didn't do the thing that I thought it was going to do.
Why would you have single issues just strewn about?
Just give me the whole story.
Yeah, it's like read this section, right? And this is this thing, and then, this run, and you get it. But they have like the individual story, like issues just strewn about. It's crazy.
The one thing they didn't do that I really thought they should have and missed the boat is similar to on Amazon. They have the X-ray mode of viewing where when you're watching something, you could pull up the cast pops up and there's little tidbits and little background information of what you're watching. I thought they were going to do a thing where you're watching Swamp Thing and then there's a little prompt that says, "Hey, want to read the best story arc of Swamp Thing? Click here to read now." That would have been great, and they didn't do that. That is not programmed in there.
It would be cool if they had suggested reading based on what you watch.
Yes. If you like this, you're going to like this. Now,
read the source material here.
They're still going to... So, Anthony, despite the fact that it's canceled, they are going to release all the 10 episodes 1 week at a time. There's still Young Justice, second half of that season coming out. There is a Stargirl TV show still coming out. And maybe the Harley Quinn cartoon. I think it got pushed back. That was like an adult R-rated cartoon. They still got stuff that they're going to put out. I don't know how much longer. It hasn't even been a year yet.
Riveting
has it?
Stuff.
Yeah. Then maybe not the. Here's another riveting TV show from DC that's coming out that nobody asked for, that maybe nobody wants. It's called Pennyworth. It will be coming out on Epix. It's a 10-part series. They just put out a trailer for the show about Alfred Pennyworth, Bruce Wayne's butler, before he's Bruce Wayne's butler.
Oh shit!
We've gotten all these Batman shows around the Batman. You want to see what Batman was before he was a kid? You get this show. Here's a Batwoman show post Batman. Here's Alfred before he's the butler, but everything but Batman. I think it's pretty funny.
I'm waiting for the Lucius Fox show.
Yes, give me a Lucius Fox when he was a little kid making
Yeah.
robots. The synopsis logline for this, Alfred Pennyworth is a former SAS operative who forms a security company with young billionaire Thomas Wayne in 1960s London. Unfortunately, a mysterious villain named Bet Sykes takes issues with their new venture and kidnaps Alfred's new lady friend named, I'm going to give you guys one guess what the woman that gets kidnapped, Alfred's female lady friend, what's her name? Give me one guess.
Martha.
You are fucking absolutely right. Her name is Martha. I was like, why did you have to name her Martha?
Why'd you say that name?
Why'd you say that name? Watching this trailer, though, you get a vibe of like a 60s British spy show. Alfred Pennyworth seems badass. He's definitely doing the Michael Caine. Doesn't he sound like a young Michael Caine, Ruggs?
Yes, he does.
Right? It's definitely the Michael Caine butler.
Yeah.
Anthony, I bet you have no desire to see this. Why would they even make this show?
Let me preface by saying the amount of desire I had is exactly the amount of minutes that I've spent watching this trailer, which is 0.
Look, just run
Actually,
the trailer.
seconds. No, I'm not going to run the trailer because I don't care.
Right.
I just don't care enough. I literally don't care enough to even watch the trailer that you told me to watch.
You know what? And I didn't want to watch it when I was like, oh, Pennyworth trailer. I'm like, I kind of don't even care. Why would I watch this? This is crazy. It looks like a British James Bond in the 60s. Thomas Wayne is in there.
I would watch a British James Bond TV show, possibly.
Why does it have to be Pennyworth?
Yeah, but why does it have to be Pennyworth?
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. And now I got all this baggage of like Batman shit, and I want to watch Batman.
They give you everything.
Be Batman.
It's supposed to be on what channel? Epix?
I don't even know what channel Epix is on.
What is Epic?
I
What
have
is
no
an
idea.
Epix?
It's a cable channel.
It's a cable channel. I have no idea. And honestly, I don't know where it is on my
It's
cable
like-
box.
I think they have like 3 or 4 channels.
Don't they do like concerts and like live music and stand-up comedy? Or it's movies?
Basically just like Stars or
Oh,
HBO. It's a channel. I think they started like just being like a movie channel.
Yeah.
Like no shows, none of their own content. Now this is like probably their first, or maybe like their third thing that they're making.
The one little thing that got me in this trailer, the setup of this premise, it's like a woman villain. She kidnaps Alfred's girlfriend, and she wants Alfred to give up Thomas Wayne to get his girl back. So I was like, that's kind of interesting. What is he going to do? Is he going to roll over on Thomas Wayne? They've started a company. So Thomas Wayne already important in this 60s era. But wow, why are you making this? This is my first question. I don't understand.
Does anybody want to know about Alfred Pennyworth? No.
No. It's just like Peter Parker's parents in Amazing Spider-Man. Nobody
I'd like
cares.
to see it. I mean, it would be cool to see like maybe an episode or two of a Batman show where they go back into Alfred's past.
Yes, like they did on the didn't they do it on the animated series, Batman animated series? You got flashbacks. That makes sense.
But even with that, like this is like it just smacks of like Agent Carter.
Yes, it's totally Agent Carter with Pennyworth. Why can't you just give me a fucking Batman show? One last comment from Justin Zwerner. He typed in, anyone want to play Striking Vipers?
Oh, shit.
Does anybody get this?
I didn't watch it yet.
Does anybody get this reference?
I did not watch Black Mirrors yet.
It is an episode of Black Mirror season 3. You have not watched? Okay, I watched the 3 episodes.
Of course you have.
Not bad. It's good.
That's what he's busy doing.
It's good Black Mirror. It's not the best, but it's good Black Mirror. Hopeful endings, which were weird because usually the Black Mirror shows at the end, you're just like, oh, we're fucked. We're all fucked as a people. But 2 of these have kind of like feel-good endings. Not bad. Check it out. I recommend. They're about an hour each, 3 episodes. Striking Vipers will make you question a lot of things. Let me just tell you that right now. Anthony, I would recommend you watch this one.
Probably won't.
Ruggs, remember you were saying where's all the Mortal Kombat fighting thing? It's in this episode. Yes. I don't want to spoil it. Just watch it because there's definite oh shit moments in.
All right, I'll check it out.
But I love Black Mirror.
Is this the best of the 3 or no?
They're all. It's
the same.
Yeah, the middle one is probably. It depends what you like. The middle one is the one I like because it didn't have a hopeful ending. It was kind of weird. I did like the first one. The Miley Cyrus one is okay. It's a little more traditional and not that crazy. I think the Striking Vipers and Smithereens is probably the stronger episodes, but watch them all. Catch them all, just like Pokemon. Okay. I get to play another drop I haven't played in a while, and it's National Felty League update from Jason Dutch.
Here's the National Felty League update.
What's happening, all you geeks and felty freaks? This is Jason Dutch here, calling with your fantasy baseball update for, what are we, June 11th, 2019. So, last week we had victories by myself, Dutch's Suicide Squad, Zack Attack, Brian Goff, defeated Pop Culture Cosmos. Blake Brayton has been on a little bit of a hot streak lately, beaten Jose Ibarra's Cleveland Steamers. Felix Winterbottom with a fat victory and a very close
Do you call him Felix? It's
matchup between
Fiddlestick.
Jess Rivera and
Felix
Imran's favorite, Lisa Morrison, goes to Mr. Rivera. The standings right now in the Dark Side division, we have the Cleveland Steamers at 7-3, Pop Culture Cosmos and myself 5-5, and Team Braden, who was once winless, I think 0-5, now 4-6, and poor Matt Miller's Speedsters coming in at 1-9 in the
Matt Miller,
Thanos division, snapping his finger every week. Zack Attack, Brian Goff at 9-1, Jess Rivera 6-4, Lisa Morrison 6-4, Felix Winterbottom 5-5, and poor Chaz
Felix
loses the TJ and he loses in fantasy 2-8. All right, guys, hope you all
Loses to
enjoy.
TJ.
Poor Chaz.
Their bottom is very weak.
Jason, thank you for that update. Listen to the Voice from the Underground podcast. Man, baseball season is still, it's long, isn't it?
We're not even
halfway, are we?
Yeah,
There's
we're
still
about-
400 games left.
Exactly.
I'm surprised people still
What
play.
the fuck? All right, before we wrap up, I want to plug the latest episode of the spinoff show, Anthony. Plug that shit.
Yeah.
It's in the feed. If you haven't listened, go back. You may have already listened to it. Great conversation with the listener.
Me and Jimmy the Geek Graben, who's a listener of the show, but he used to work in a sports newsroom and now is a high school counselor. But we had him on, and he does a great Imran impression.
Oh my God, it's fantastic.
But yeah, it's good discussion. Good listener, interesting guy, interesting career. Some sports talk, a bunch of other stuff. Next week's show will be a sports related show. I'm going to have Brian Franklin on from the Let Me Be Frank podcast to potentially discuss NBA, sports, whatever the hell he wants to talk about. And then, just so you know, the week after that, I probably will be on a hiatus for the spinoff show because I am going to Las Vegas for a bachelor
Of course
party.
you are.
Yes.
You're Mecca.
Yes.
You're home away from home.
And he's never done that before.
That'll be my first Vegas. No.
No, listen, I will clip. Jimmy Graben does great impression of me, and I want the listener to go hear it. Eventually, it will be added to the soundboard because it's hilarious. And I love that episode because it was like the Jock and Nerd Nation podcast for like the group. It was like hearing from a listener who's been with us. It was very interesting to hear from a guy that like he's been in on the thing for
Right.
like the last 3 years.
Yeah, a lot of it's just he's the listener and
Yeah.
he loves the show, and I just gave him an opportunity to come on and talk to me.
It's great. A lot of good feedback about the show, too. So check that out. Also, Jimmy Graben will be going up against Matt Delhauer in a near future episode of Trivia Geek.
Oh, shit.
Oh.
They're going to battle it out, so that'll be fun. Rug Boy, where can they find you online?
You can find me on the Twitters at Really Rug Boy. Come by, say what's up, shoot me some messages, slide into my DMs.
Oh, slide into those felty
I'll
DMs.
slide into your DMs.
At Really Rug Boy. Show notes, and you can find that link at the show notes for this episode, jockandnerd.com/279, where there's links to everything we talked about, how to get in touch, how to subscribe for free wherever you listen so you never miss a show, and our links to our Instagram and Twitter. And, of course, the last thing we always say, if you like the show, listener, share it, spread it, send it to a friend. I know the first thing when new listeners hear my voice first, I know that sucks them in right away.
Oh, shit.
I know that they will.
No, it does.
You know that's that first certain.
That's my favorite thing.
Certain frequency you hear Krusty the Clown talking in here. Despite that, share the show anyways. They'll get past that. Thanks for listening to the Jock and Nerd Podcast. My name is Imran.
My name's Anthony.
He's the Jock.
He's the Nerd.
We'll catch you next time.
Fuck that show.
Somebody touch my spaghetti! Get your hand off my penis!
What else you got there, Imran?
My spider shits are tingling.
You don't use that